The following letter expresses many issues. I am increasingly optimistic that its contents, now laid out concisely, somewhat simplifies the subject. In the contents of this letter, you're going to see, towards the end of the letter, just who rendered me most speechless. I felt subdued in the end. This path I admittedly tried to walk on started way back in January with calls made to a very prominent charity retail CEO. I made several calls to a charitable institution. These calls were admittedly made to representatives. I found it almost impossible to obtain an email address, and despite repeated and strenuous efforts, I never got what I considered warranted answers. CEOs are, I learned, difficult to talk to. The neglect shown, despite repeated attempts, still totally dismays me. However, this mail now sets out to embrace a response I got to another attempt. One I undertake with optimism. If any of the contents provoke any reaction, I would be very interested in hearing from people that could help. Admittedly, I was a little rushed when I sent previous ones, so this lays out my proposals more concisely. I sent a couple of mails and am actively encouraged by some responses, though, as with anything in my life, I wish it would come into fruition a tad quicker. Here is the letter with some names omitted. Just a quick note that I will reference it as simply, Dear House of Commons. The letter is as follows and was written on Tuesday the 3rd of December. Thanks for getting back to me. I can't quite fathom how I must have not explained myself enough. But no one wrote the book on life. I'm going to acknowledge that in a world where few of us have enough hours in the day, I must have reneged my duties and not paid my mail enough attention. Before I proceed, may I now ask you a few questions? Of course, I would ideally like you to pass this mail on. 1. Has any of the information sent in my previous emails been relayed to the person that I expressed an interest in sending it to? Has it all been conveyed to the person it was addressed to? 2. Have any videos on resale decadence, also available on YouTube, been watched? The reasoning behind sending these was to accurately describe what I'm sure you will agree is a complex subject. It is one, however, that deservedly needs attention. Indeed, the mail sent was sent to preempt some questions that I knew I would inevitably get. May I ask if they have been listened to or watched? Particularly if they haven't, could you confirm they now will be? I don't write to MPs at all. After half a century on Earth, people seem a bit lackluster about whether it can actually help. On this occasion, however, given just how many people it would potentially help, I decided to write. 3. Please don't confuse my enthusiasm for pressure. But my last question is this. Given the contents of the mails and the extensive coverage talking about the massive capacity to potentially create, what is to many people a very large sum of money, namely £1 million? Could I ask if you can give me a response? Moreover, I would like to see the MP concerned, or parties that I would imagine would be only too happy to find out more. Let's pursue this for the benefit of all. It's a brave new initiative. It's never been done before. But if you can find it, or anyone can see its massive potential, the results could be absolutely monumental. The UK could be a kingpin in bold initiatives. Summary proposals. My wants ideally. 1. Use the government's input to open up discussions with a conglomerate of charities with the aim as an online alert scheme for willing buyers and an annual subscription service. 2. Use the government's assistance to promote negotiations to provide radical concessions and cost-effective, much-needed storage to eBay resellers. These are storage units available up and down the country. Many of the units have empty spaces lying dormant. They would be so welcome to the people that want to make an independent living. Ideal space for their goods. In this area alone, there are many brilliant ones such as Kangaroo Self-Storage, Warrington Self-Storage, Safe Store, Big Yellow. 3. Whatever happens, I will be undertaking this project. But I want my government to be the change I want to see. Run with me, government. Allow me to judge you not on how others were, but on how you treated me. Another thing I learned in life is that it's how people really make you feel that you undoubtedly always remember. I propose to use the government's assistance to be instrumental in providing cost-effective self-storage, a way for hard-working individuals who attempt to flip it like a boss to feel even better about what they do, and a way for them to feel like they're also getting ahead, to get on their feet with new technology primarily associated with reselling. I would also like pop-up shops for resellers to provide cost-effective outlets for the sale of recycled products. I was one of 1,370 people laid off my Jessops. I have seen the death of the high street. I have good reason to want change. 4. I come to the table as one half of a successful reselling couple who have 20 years' experience in the field. I would like to work in an advisory capacity with this. I propose the new initiative be called Resell Decadence. To that end, the forums I have set up and the great lengths I am going to, I would hope provide you with a very substantial testimonial. I wholeheartedly know what I am talking about, and would willingly play a part in the entire remit of its construction. Has anybody explored the capacity for change that £1 million could make to a conglomeration of charities? My perspective is this: these subjects so obviously need talking about. It would be very difficult to argue that additional funds for charities would be roadblocked. Equally, it's imperative that we reward faith in sustainable shopping, recycling, and a circular economy. I would very much appreciate an appointment to discuss this more. Could you now confirm that this is possible? Of course, I understand that this would be ideal when there is adequate time for an appointment from yourselves. Make no mistake, I wholeheartedly believe that the subject is of great importance to many parties. I am somewhat perplexed that, with some delays getting back to me, it's not been actioned. Far more imperatively, I am a self-employed man with 2 storage units, thinking of downsizing them because of the outlay. I work doggedly with my partner whose work ethic makes mine appear like I am pushing treacle up a hill. But what gifts, from the proposed Resell Decadence alert system laid out here, can it now provide to radically change the lives of others? And if I can ask the question, laid out here and granted its relevant importance, should it not be an imperative question also on the lips of every MP, and charity CEO tasked with essentially providing essential support to the people they represent? Let me pull into the equation these details that may surprise you. The overall resale market is growing 11 times faster than the broader retail clothing sector. By 2030, the resale and traditional thrift market is predicted to be worth $84 billion, more than double the projected value of the fast fashion market, $40 billion. I sincerely hope the above information now clearly spells out what's required. Should you need my insight, I can give it. Feel free to ask me more. Kind regards, Lanza. P.S. I would like to emphasize the importance of the video links attached. I intend to speak to the CEOs of every conceivable charity. I went to great lengths to do so several months ago. In truth, I was somewhat exasperated with the lack of connection there. I am aghast at the lackluster approach I encountered there, and right here with new vigor and the best intentions. CEOs earn an awful lot of money. I couldn't think of something that could justify it quite as much as Resell Decadence's proposals. Moreover, I can without the shadow of a doubt state that this could be instrumental in the biggest charity overall of this century.